All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eric, and today we're going to be talking about Henry's 2024 GT4 RS. Here it is in the paint to sample Nardo Gray, which is a fantastic color in contrast with the Visoc package, which includes a lot of the carbon pieces like the carbon hood, carbon mirrors, and the wing in the back. It is just a phenomenal car in this color. Coming over to the front, we do have the optional headlights. They have a $1,500 price tag to get the additional Porsche dynamic lights. The GT4 RS logo is stamped in down here, which looks very nice on the front splitter. You'll notice the car is relatively low. If I were to put my shoe up to the front splitter, you can see it is basically touching my shoe, although the car does have a front axle lift system, which does raise the nose a little bit. So if you're trying to get in and out of tight spaces, it makes it much easier. You do have a nice daytime running LED signature light down here, along with the 4 dots that run during the day, and it looks very good. We do have the NACA ducts right here, which draws air in by creating a pressure differential and drawing it down to the carbon ceramic brakes down here, which are painted in yellow. This is about a $8,000 option. Again, you can see this car just has a really aggressive stance and a very aggressive front end. The Porsche logo here is also just a sticker for weight saving, which is pretty funny. The stripe down the center comes back onto the rear wing, which is a $780 option. The wheels are the magnesium wheels. They are 8.5 inches by 11 inches in the rear, running 245s and 295 tires. The car has really good traction, and you definitely feel like these tires do a really good job of keeping the car in control. Coming down the side, you do have this really nice vent, which draws air along the side. And especially right here, you can see the aerodynamic design of this. Keeps air stuck along the side and drawing air into the engine through these massive carbon air intakes. Up here, you also have the ram air induction system, which goes into the back, which we'll go ahead and show you that now. You can see the 4-liter flat 6 that powers the GT4 RS. It has 493 horsepower, about 331 pound-feet of torque, and it's just a phenomenal look with the carbon fiber in here with the GT4 RS. And the sound that these ducts produce going into the engine is just unbelievable. It's a really amazing sound. Close that. Coming on to the inside of the doors, you do have very nice Alcantara on the door with matte carbon fiber. The door handle release in the yellow is an additional $200 charge. Coming down here, you have the GT4 RS logo in the matte carbon, and these seats do come standard in the GT4 RS. You can option in what's called a sports seat, which is much less aggressive. I mean, this has really insanely deep side bolsters, so it's not necessarily the easiest seat to get in and out of, but they are surprisingly comfortable. Having driven the car for 2 hours at once, and we were not even uncomfortable in them at all, so that was pretty surprising. Got the Visoc RS logo on the headrest, which looks really good, and the Race Tex, it just feels extremely good, nice soft to the touch. Coming to the inside, you have the tachometer right in the center with the speedometer on the left, and then you can change the information displayed on the right. The steering wheel is very simple in here. You don't necessarily have any dials or any switches on here. It feels really good to grip. Nice analog clock up here, which looks great. And Henry and I were just talking about how cohesive and amazing this interior is. You have a really, really nice material, suede just all over the place. This matte carbon with the Visoc RS logo right there looks really good. The infotainment system doesn't necessarily have too much in it, although you do have the ability to tune through various different things and media sources. You can pull up some information on the car, like your total drive time, total distance, things of that nature, and then you can record lap times as well. The PDK shift lever it's just a really nice thing to see, because a lot of the new 911s have the tiny little shift lever, so this really lets you feel engaged when you're shifting through gears. You can use the paddle shifts behind the steering wheel, and or you can shift this over into the left position and move it forward and aft to go through the gears, which is really nice. Coming down here, you can put the transmission into the sport mode. The suspension has the ability to become stiffer, so if you press this button, it will allow for that to occur. You have electronic stability control and traction control, which you can turn off either the ESC and or the ESC and traction control if you're taking the car to the track. Also, you have the active exhaust, which makes this car sound extremely good, which regardless, it sounds good, but you can make it louder and or quieter. And the front axle lift system for when you want to go out of any sort of dips or a driveway that's very steep. You have the embroidered Porsche logo right here. And again, just looking back, you see that carbon fiber engine cover, which looks absolutely insane. GT4 RS is stamped on the side of this wing plate. Coming over here, this wing just has a really nice design. You can take a look at it from here. It's essentially an upside down airfoil, so it creates a pressure differential, sucking the car to the ground. And essentially the faster that you get, the more downforce that's going to produce. The rear diffuser is also designed to produce downforce, and you have an extremely aggressive exit for air to come through right here. The Visoc package also includes these exhaust tips, which look really good. They're derived from the Porsche 935, which is an old school Porsche race car. So it really just adds to the look. And yeah, it's a phenomenal looking car. It's very easy to drive once you get used to it. And in this video, we'll include some accelerations from both Henry and myself and let you guys hear the exhaust. And we're also going to take you guys on a drive and just kind of talk about the driving experience. I'm not sure if anybody would be looking to daily drive a GT4 RS, but we can kind of talk through, if you were driving this car often, some of the things that you would want to take into consideration before purchasing one. Without any options included, costs roughly $165,000, but both Henry and myself have been searching the market for a long time, and after reviewing a ton of different vehicles, we've essentially determined, from what we can tell, the lowest prices that we're finding are roughly $205,000. And they range up into the $250,000, maybe even $260,000 region if you have all of the packages like paint to sample, magnesium wheels, and things of that nature. So realistically, the base price of this vehicle is unattainable. I don't really think you can get a GT4 RS for anything under $200,000 unless it has extremely high mileage and or it had a salvage title. But any low mileage, well-kept GT4 RS, expect to pay in the probably $220,000 to $240,000 range. We're going to go out that way because that dip over there is very aggressive. Here we are back in Henry's 2024 GT4 RS. Right off the bat, you'll notice that this is a very driver-oriented car. It makes you feel very in control. You're essentially in a cockpit, if you could call it that. The steering wheel has an extremely nice touch, very good side bolstering, and the Alcantara is just absolutely amazing to feel. And all the materials in here are just so nice, and it's just a great place to be. I love the tachometer right in the center. It just makes you feel like Porsche is prioritizing your RPMs over your speed, which is a good thing to see. The paddle shift levers here just feel really good in your hand. So when you're manually shifting through gears, again, you either have the shift lever down here and or the paddle shifters up at the top, which allows for just really, really precise shifting. These guys like the car. Oh, there's a nice Turbo S. Look at that thing. Whoa, that was a beautiful color. But one thing you'll notice about this PDK transmission is the downshifts are unbelievably fast. As soon as you press the paddle shifter, it shifts. It is unbelievable how precise performance. I mean, it's insane. And even when you're using the shift lever down here, we're in fourth gear, going into third, into second. Very precise. A little bit of juice here. To put the Porsche dual clutch transmission into sport mode, which allows for it to shift even faster, a little bit more aggressive of a shift. The suspension down here, we can press that button, which allows for it to be a little bit stiffer, a little bit more precise in handling. If you were to want to daily drive the vehicle, I think you would run into a little bit of impracticality issues. I think that's one of the biggest things is the ride height of this vehicle. Even with the front axle lift, you're just going to run into a lot of situations where if you were to drive this car daily and you're going in and out of aggressive dips or into broken shunting to that sort, you'd be worried about dragging the nose and the tail of this vehicle often. Another thing too is I'd probably be constantly worried about people door digging this car if I were parking in tight areas. I think usually driving this car from other cars, so I think that that's something to take into consideration. But as a weekend warrior vehicle, it's just absolutely insane. And when I put the PDK Sport Mode button on, I didn't even downshift myself. That is phenomenal how it is downshifting and just keeping the car at like a relatively higher RPM. Just really, really nice. You do get a lot of thumbs up. This is a very visually aggressive car with all of the aero. It's going to turn a lot of heads, even in this more subtle Nardo gray color. Absolutely insane. Probably the sound of this car is my favorite thing. Yeah, that's something else we can talk about. So probably from the moment that we first drove this car, being with the engine sitting right behind your head, that induction noise, the exhaust sound, it is such a phenomenal experience, and it is so unique compared to other vehicles. I mean, other mid-engine cars, yeah, they produce a lot of sound, but this, just with those ram air induction system right behind your head, unbelievable sounds. Unbelievable. One of a kind. If you have a, $250,000 sitting around, I would just go buy one of these tomorrow. That's what I would say. If we take into consideration a GT3 RS versus a GT4 RS, I think this car with the mid-engine platform, and it's a little bit smaller, a little bit more nimble, I think that this really meets a lot of the requirements for a great sports car. There's really nothing that I have found about this car that is negative. It sounds phenomenal. The build quality is insane. The sound is insane. And for the price, what you're getting, I think that, yes, it's an expensive vehicle, but you're getting unbelievable performance and quality. So I really think that Porsche nailed it with this one. The GT3 RS being, how much would you say on average more? It's probably at least 100 to 150,000 more, depending on what options you get. So for roughly $250,000 on average, this car with the same GT3 motor that revs out to 9,000 RPM, I think you're just getting an extreme